And welcome back to Whatever, here on Celtic Music Radio, with myself, Gavin Patterson, and our special guest here today is Miss Barbara Dickson. Now, Barbara, some people have probably been sitting listening to this show, waiting to hear one or two songs that they recognise, because they might not know the deep catalogue the way that some others, I'm sure, if any of your fans are tuning in, they will know these stuff. But for the more casual viewer, let's have a wee look at some of the big hits, if we can.
Yeah.
And for me, my introduction to your music was the single Answer Me.
Yeah.
And I suspect, like many people, this was the first time that we'd heard your voice. And although I now know the song to be the Nat King Cole and various other covers, this was the first version that I'd heard of it. Yeah. And it's produced by a man who I think is responsible for some of the best music ever to come out of Scotland, Mr. Junior Campbell of the Marmalade fame. Yeah. Now, Reflections of My Life is just one of the...
It's a great record,
it's one of the classiest
it?
Records ever. It is just, it reeks of total class. And when I read, as I was doing part of this production, you know, the preparation for this production, that you've been working with Junior Campbell, I thought, I have to speak to you about Junior Campbell. So tell me a little bit about Junior Campbell.
Well, Junior, of course, had a couple of hits on his own after he left the Marmalade. So by the time I came in contact with him, which was mid-70s, and it was RSO Records I was signed to at that time, Robert Stigwood's organisation. There must be a connection here, but I don't know what it is. But in the publishing department in RSO was a guy called Pat Fairley. Okay. And Pat was in the Marmalade. He was the bass player in the Marmalade. Okay, and he was a sweet guy, lovely guy. And there's all sorts of people, Scotsmen, lurking down in the basement in Brook Street in Robert Stigwood's organisation. Okay. So Pat used to work with Junior. Now, whether Pat suggested to Chris Yule, who was my label manager, that Junior was looking for some commissions as a producer, I've no idea, but I just remember meeting Junior and thinking he was absolutely fabulous, and driving over to his house to meet him and talk about what we could do. And he said, let's knock about a few ideas and see. He said, what we need is a hit. Right. So he said, if we can get a hit from somewhere else and redo it and rework it, it's a great exercise. I mean, I know that my friend Rab Noakes would greatly approve of this, the sort of process of how this came about. Okay. Junior said, we've got to give one song our absolute best shot. Okay. And if we get that away, then we can make a good album, and there'll be already attention will have been paid to the song. This is the way the wheels of the world work. Mm-hmm. So this is exactly what we did. I went to his house, we looked at things, and I remember us looking at Answer Me, and he said, I was just thinking about this song. He says, you know, Answer Me. He said, and I said, yeah, what Nat King Cole? And he went, yeah, Answer Me, Lord above. Dee da 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 dee da da da, like he says, a real schmaltzy waltz tempo. Yes. He says, now, I was thinking that we could maybe do it in a Latin version. Mm-hmm. And he says, so it'd go, body bum, and we do it like that. And he says, what do you think of that? And so I said, so how would it work? And he said, well, it would go, answer me, oh my love. And he said, and if we had congas and triangle and some strings on it, really light and airy, he said, I think that'd work. Anyway, cut to Scorpio Studios some time later, not very long afterwards. I'm sitting at the piano with a headset on. Okay. Junior Campbell sitting at the Fender Rhodes headset on. Oh, yeah. There's about 12 musicians sitting there. Rhythm section, guy playing congas, guy playing the triangle, a kick drummer. So there's 3 percussionists there on the session. And strings. We've got the whole thing was done live, apart from the vocal who did a guide vocal. Yeah. Did I do a guide vocal? No, I don't think I did, because I couldn't have separated the sound. I must have done it because I was on the recording. Yeah. So I must have just shut up and we must have gone for it. And anyway, we did it, and we had BJ Cole play the steel guitar. Then he got the elbow because he didn't play very well. Then, really? Yeah, no, he didn't play very well. And we eventually ended up by having Gordon Huntley, who was from Matthew's Southern Comfort. Right.
And is this beautiful introduction, the sound that we hear on the introduction to the song?
And he played the solo.
Right, and so Gordon Huntley is
Gordon
on
Huntley.
this, and it's a beautiful introduction. The tone is absolutely
it's
immaculate.
Harmonics on the steel guitar.
Wonderful, wonderful. So you'll probably know this one, but having heard the things that Barbara's got to say about it, and in particular listen to this beautiful introduction. This was the big first hit single. This is Barbara Dickson with Answer Me.